friends, let's talk today about what kind of business you can start with no money. And let's agree right away that by the phrase with no money, I also mean very low expenses. So if you need to invest, say, 300 to 400 euros to set up the business, we'll also consider that a business with no money. And this business must also definitely meet the second condition. It should start generating income almost immediately. That is, you arrive and within a few weeks you're already starting to earn something. And in fact, the second condition is much harder to fulfill than the first. Coming up with a business you can start without financial investment is fairly easy. There are plenty of them. But finding one that starts bringing in income quickly is much more difficult. Let me explain with an example. For example, a real estate agency. It's a great business. You can start it without any money. All you need to do is create a website. You can make it yourself. So even if you've never made a website before, if you don't know how to do it, well, spend a couple of days, learn. In 2 or 3 days, you'll get the hang of website building. And in another week, you'll have it done. So basically, there's nothing particularly difficult about it. All you need to spend on is buying a domain and a hosting service. So basically, these expenses are absolutely negligible. That's it. But this business doesn't meet the second condition I mentioned. In other words, it will take a long time before it starts generating income. Why? Because you need to build up a database of at least 1,000 properties so that buyers have something to choose from. That takes a lot of time and it's a huge hassle. You have to describe everything, take photos, upload them to the website, talk to each seller, have coffee with them, negotiate the commission terms. In short, all of this takes a lot of time. Next, you've made the website, but no one visits it, maybe 3 people a day or 5 at most. No one sees your offer. So you have to write some articles so that people come, read, look around and make their choices. All of this is a huge amount of work. And in the best case scenario, you start seeing any somewhat serious sales in about a year. So as you can see, this business doesn't fit our criteria. So which ones do? Let me give you 3 examples. The first example is a manicurist, pedicurist, massage therapist, hairdresser, or something similar, something in that vein. People arrive and literally within a couple of weeks, they already start getting their first orders. After 2 months, they have noticeably more orders. And after 6 months, people are working as much as they possibly can. Well, at least if they have their head on straight and understand that they need to promote themselves a little bit more. The vast majority of people who have come here, specialists in this field, don't get hired for a job, they don't open salons, they simply work from home. That is, you don't need a lot of money to set up your own workspace at home. That's it. You arrive, start working, begin advertising in whatever ways are available to you, and everything starts moving forward. The second option, trainers of various specializations, fitness, kite surfing, windsurfing, skiing. If your business is highly seasonal, for example, skiing or windsurfing, it makes sense to combine it with another type of sport or even a completely different kind of activity. For instance, a ski instructor can offer individual tours during the off-season, that is, in the summer. Well, there are plenty of examples of what you can combine it with. But a fitness trainer doesn't need to come up with anything has work all year round. There have been examples of both successful and unsuccessful trainers. Some came and then returned to their homeland, while others have been working here for many years. What sets them apart first and foremost? The unsuccessful ones tried to conduct only group classes, which is a bit difficult because the towns are small. It's hard to gather many groups on the coast. Yes, some people have tried, for example, to form one group in Herceg-Novi, another in Budva, a third in Kotor, traveling between cities. But all of this, firstly, greatly increases your expenses since you have to travel somewhere regularly and it reduces your financial results. Secondly, all of this takes quite a lot of time. Roughly speaking, half of your working time you're not training or earning money, you're just traveling from one gym to another. That's it. That's why it's best to combine individual and group training sessions. Group sessions bring in some profit, but individual sessions provide the main income because they simply cost more. And at the same time, you don't have to travel from city to city. You can work in just one city. It doesn't matter what it's called, Herceg-Novi or anything else. The third option I want to talk about today is being a rental agent and agent for property rentals. Right now, I'm talking about long-term property rentals. At the beginning of this video, I already mentioned that a real estate agency focused on sales doesn't suit our needs because it takes a very long time to generate profit. It will take a very long time to see your first earnings. But with property rentals, it's a completely different story. New immigrants arrive every day. The demand is enormous. You can sell all the real estate, well, at least all the normal real estate, not the shacks, but the normal real estate that is rented out at reasonable prices. However many you can find, you'll be able to rent them all out. In my experience, truly excellent properties are real gem with the perfect balance of price and quality I can rent out in a single day. If the property is a bit less desirable but still decent, it usually takes about a week, sometimes two. Properties that are either in really bad shape or priced unreasonably generally don't get rented out at all. So why is it much faster to enter the rental market here than to sell property? Because there are fewer listings. When it comes to selling property, you go to any agency's website and immediately see thousands of listings. That's how it is. But with rental properties, there isn't such an abundance. You have to search, and people come here not knowing where to look. But then there's you. And I have one, I offer my services for a reasonable fee, and there's real demand for that. The majority of people who come to Montenegro, most immigrants, are actually looking to rent property through one realtor or another. That's how it is. You can get into this very quickly. At first, you just need to find it literally 2 or 3 listings. You can already start advertising and begin earning. And with this approach, it's quite realistic to make a living in Montenegro, even just doing this one thing alone. So, friends, that's all from me. And yes, one last thing. You've probably seen in various videos many times, well, in videos and articles, all sorts of opinions. There are all kinds of opinions that to start a business, whether at home or abroad, you need a bag of money, that it's unrealistic for an ordinary person. As you can see, that's not true. You can actually start a business even with almost no money. Yes, sometimes you do need to have certain knowledge and skills for that. But even if you don't have them right now, nothing is stopping you from acquiring them in advance. For example, I'm sure you can learn something like manicures in 6 months, maybe a year. So you can master a particular way of earning money in advance back home. You come to Montenegro and start earning money. My name is Dimitri. All my contact information is in the description for this video, and you can reach out to me with any questions about immigrating to Montenegro. Goodbye, everyone.